the music.
Welcome back to the Anthony Lee Crypto Channel. We are live. It is FOMC day. What's up, y'all? Oh, camera's over here. I forgot to hook my other camera back up. Whoops. I feel like I have to slunch down in the chair now. What's up, y'all? How about this volatility already kicking in this morning? Or I guess it's afternoon now. We got FOMC coming up in about 10 minutes. We will have the report released, and then in about 30 minutes after that, we'll have the press conference. Guys, I'm telling you, we're fixing to see some massive fireworks here as Kevin Warsh starts talking. I have my opinion. Oh, do we have a poll going? We have a poll. I don't know if we have a poll. Let me see. Close that. Yeah, we do. Is Kevin Warsh going to be dovish or bullish? Hit up the poll. Let me know what you think. Let's see who's here. Joining us on this fine Wednesday afternoon. Jack, what's up, dude? Johnny number 5. Johnny number 5 laying down the tutelage in the Pro Discord. Hooking folks up with his trade management skills. Mighty Max, what's up? Thanos, my main man. West Coast. What's up, bro? West Coast, man. I'm proud of you. I've been shooting some thumbs up. I've been really busy today. I haven't been quite as active as I like to be in there. I've been super busy. But I'm proud of you, man. You're learning. You're doing good. And I don't mean to knock you. I know you're already a skilled trader, but you know, I'm seeing some progression here in your trading skills and more importantly, the controlling of your emotions. Guys, controlling your emotions is the number one. There is nothing more important in trading than controlling your emotions. Nothing. Not the technicals. Not you can flip a coin and get it right half the time, but can you control your emotions to do the right thing once you're in the trade? That's what it's about. Salt Chain. So anyways, proud of you, bro. Proud of you, man. Salt Chain, what's up? Wendy, I need to radio Jane and let her know you're here. We need Jane. It's bare moon. It's FOMC. This is like all kinds of hokiness all in one day. We need Jane. We need some Jane. We need Jane. She hates it when I do that. She's probably not even going to respond to me. The chat needs Jane, baby. It's bare moon, it's FOMC, it's all that hokiness combined, and we're left without guidance here. It's probably like some moon in Gemini, something. I don't know. I'm just picking. She's so mad at me right now. Eons, what's up? What's up, Eons in the house? Guys, we've been killing some trades here lately. Thank you to the pros for laying down the info. Max says nailing those big trades the last week or so. This is good price action. I agree. We've been hitting listen, there are times, I don't know if it's me, the market, the moon or what, but there are times that, we just kind of are. I don't know. We're not like one with the chart. But here lately, the last few weeks, we've absolutely been slaughtering these trades. Johnny says 100% max, knocking them out lately. Bitcoin has just been cooperating. Yes, that is it. You say it LOL as a joke, but that's it. It has literally been like we can just fib it. 786, boom, bounce, intertrade. Retrace 786, boom, add to the trade. Head back in the right direction, reverse. I mean, it has literally been so predictable that it's not even funny. This never happens. Never happens. Jane Allison, whoever Jane Allison is, must be Jane International, says, walkie-talkie isn't working. Too much astrology going on right now. Devin Newcomb, what's up, brother? Thanks for being here, man. Thanks for being here. We're going to look at let's see, Joe Bowers, big thanks to all the pros with all the great advice. You're welcome, dude. We enjoy having you and enjoy helping you out. Let's take a look. So I just closed a trade. I just took a long trade. I gave it to you guys this morning. For those of you in disbelief, I gave it this morning in the Discord. This was not even a pro group trade. This is given in Discord right here. The dang shaded green box. Right there in Discord given. And we came right into it. Let's zoom into this bad boy. We wicked right down into it, ding, and bounced. And I took the trade, and several others took the trade as well. I just closed my trade. Brad was talking about it. I was too busy to chime in, and it doesn't matter. It wasn't a pro group trade, and you had enough people in there telling you when they were TPing anyway. I didn't need to be stepping on their toes. But Brad was talking to Invicta about stop loss because we're also short. I'll show you that short. I got two shorts going. Let me show you the big short first. I'm still in this trade I've secured $8,700 profit on this trade. This is the short from 81.7K. Given and taken on the live stream. This was our Babylon 2.0 trade. Gave this trade as soon as I took it. Gave it in advance. We looked forward to this. We prepped for this trade. Took it. Secured $8,800. I am 95% out of this trade. The last TP I took was at 60K, and I'm just letting it ride. I don't care. I don't care if it goes. My stop loss is at entry, and I don't care. It's only 5% of my margin left. I don't care. I'm going to ride this trade down to 50K or get stopped out, and I don't care which. Either way, they're not taking my $8,700. I've already realized that profit. We got short yesterday, I think. Well, hang on. Let me show you the long trade first. So we're short. We talked about this trade in advance for a long time also. This was our swoop of the 60K low. We took this trade. I took this trade I think probably about an hour after the live stream closed that day. It just didn't hit until we got off. I've secured $6,800 profit on that. I am still in this long trade. And then I shorted this morning or yesterday. We shorted yesterday. Okay. And here's what I want to talk about. We're going to walk through this. We shorted this yesterday. I've realized $2,100 profit on this. I am still in this short. And Invicta was talking about, I did a live stream for the pro group yesterday, and Invicta was asking today where our stop loss was, and Brad told him, boom. So we fibbed from this second high, not the high. We didn't fib from the high because we've already done that. We already fibbed that. Boom. Came to the 786. We talked about this. Some of the crew got stopped out for some reason. But we discussed this on a live stream in the pro group as to why nobody should be stopped out here. But it is what it is. So we've already hit that 786. So now we're on, since all of this liquidity has been grabbed, you can see it if you zoom in. I'm not zooming in, but it's there. So now we're on to the second leg down. And we were looking for 786, and we all had our stop loss above it at 66.5. The 786 at 66.4. So I am still in my short trade from up here. And I took the long trade from here, and I closed the long trade here. I know some of you did not close that long, but I did close that long, and there's my profit, a quick little $1,500 profit this morning on a super easy shaded box given to you in Discord this morning. And if you're just joining us, I'll show you that again. Given this morning from the dang green shaded box. So easy trading this morning. I think I showed them all. We got 81K short, Babylon 2.0. We got the swoop of the low, 60K low. Got the short from yesterday. I am still in. And the long that I just closed. Okay, that's it. So I'm in 3 trades. I am mostly out of my Babylon 2.0. I'm mostly out of it. 75% out of that. I'm 95% out of no, I lied. I want to make sure you guys got this. I'm 95% out of this trade, Babylon 2.0. I'm 75% out of the long from the bottom. I've closed the long from this morning, and I'm 70% out of this short. So that's it. We're all caught up. I'm killing time, guys. We got like another minute before the report comes out. Let's look at that. Flashbang. Prepare your eyes. Flashbang, guys. Okay, got FOMC coming up in 1 minute. 99 points. There's 0% chance they cut rates. There's a 0.4% chance they raise rates. They're not going to do anything. This report is nothing. It's going to be meaningless. We won't see anything in price action from this report unless it's a surprise. But what is important is Kevin Warsh coming up next. Hit up the poll and chat. Hit up the poll and chat. I have an opinion, but we're going to talk about it right after we see this report. You know, we already know what it's going to say, but we got to look just to be sure. It's in 45 seconds. Let me take a sip of my monster that's poured in my protein shaker. My custom protein shaker. I don't know if you can hear that. It's stainless steel. Oh, my camera's up here. It's from my old gym. I had these made for my old gym. Some of my clients at my old gym that I sold. I didn't sell the shakers. I sold the gym. I just gave these to some fine folks. All right, here we go. 10 seconds, y'all, and we'll take a look at this report, and then we'll go into some other things while we wait for the press conference. Join us, AnthonyLeeCrypto.com. You can join the VIP Discord from there. Here we go. Let's see what the report says. Uh-oh. Bitcoin dumping. Did they do something? Oh, no change. Bitcoin dumping, y'all. Bitcoin is dumping. Oh, hang on, guys. Hang on, guys. Y'all gonna have to give me a second. I have big things going on over here. I'm getting in some trades over here. Hang on one second. Dang it. I was not prepared. My own fault, y'all. I'm buying me some flux, y'all. I'll drag her on over. Oops. Drag her on over. Like a caveman. Club her in the head and drag her on over. Dang it. They jumped in front of me. I'm buying some flux. I got about $100,000 here we're spending. I'm buying 400,000 flux right now. 400,000 flux, FLUX. I put out a video on flux today. Y'all should go watch it, y'all. I think flux is going lower. I think flux is probably going to swoop the low, so probably about 15 to 20% lower, but I don't give a damn. I'm buying $100,000, and I don't care what you think. Bitcoin, gosh, man, what a dump. Look at that. Look at that freaking dump, y'all. Look at that dump. Did anybody take this short, by the way? This short from the 786, excuse me. If you're in the pro group, first of all, you have to start acting like a pro. Okay. I know we're trying to help you, but you have to start thinking and acting like a pro. So, and we discussed this yesterday, that a lot of times when you've missed the move, which I know some people miss the move. I miss the move sometimes. You miss the move and you still want to get in the move rather than like, oh, God, I missed the move. Let me FOMO in here and get wrecked. You wait for the 786 retrace and then you enter, right? Wait for the goal 618 to 786 retrace. Wait for the divs and the reaction, then you enter. So you very well could have entered this trade here. When Brad told you we were targeting the 786, stop loss for the short would be above the 786. That should let you know that we're looking for some reaction at the 786. So if you get the reaction, it's nothing more than a missed opportunity, perfect retrace, short trade down. You would have just made some really quick profits right here. So think like a professional. We discussed this before. Like if you were to, if this were be your TP, like I closed right here. Most people close and be like, yeah, good job, pat themselves on the back. Don't do that. Why did you close? Why did you close? You closed because you thought it was going to reject. Otherwise, you'd have kept it open because you thought it was going to continue to go up and you would make some more profit, right? So the only reason to close is because you think price is going down. Well, if you think price is going down, why not short it? Why not short it too? Don't just close your trade and pat yourself on the back. Flip short. I didn't. Okay, I didn't flip short. I know you're saying, well, you didn't do that, Anthony. I didn't because I'm already short from here. I'm already short from there. So I just would have. I could have opened a new short, but if I had I was on my MEXC account, which I'm already short on MEXC. So if I would have flipped short as soon as I closed, it just would have brought, instead of my entry here, it would have averaged my entry there, and I didn't want that. So, but if you weren't in a short already, or you had a second account pulled up, you could have just flipped short. I'm holding up price here. Everything is dumping except flux because I have such a big order. Look at all these little orders: 400, 9,000, 3,000, 3,000, 3,000. I'm sitting up here with 400,000. I'm holding up price. These people below me are so mad right now. They're like, this son of a bitch up here, they can't fill my order because he's holding it up. I love getting on these small cap coins like this. Look at the volume on this coin. It's sad. 89K today. 89K. Something like Fetch. Let's see the volume of Fetch. Fetch isn't even a big coin. Let's see Ethereum. Way higher. Let's look at Fetch because I'm on Fetch too. Let's see what the Fetch volume is today. 2.24 million. And I'm on this little 89K volume coin. Holding up price. Like I'm holding up traffic. They're so mad. I guarantee you they're mad. They filled 39% of my order. If this was not FOMC day, I could literally sit here for probably 2 days trying to fill this order. I'm just lucky. That's why I'm trying to fill it now. Some of you are thinking, well, if you think it's going lower, why not fill lower? Because I got to take advantage to get this filled because it takes a high volume day to fill 400,000 order on something like Flux. And I don't care. I think I'll 10x from right here easily. Easily. We're going to discuss that in a minute, guys. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, go check out subscribe to the channel. Go check out the videos tab. And I did a video on Flux yesterday, I think. So there it is, guys. If we pump up, if this does a 3x in the next 2 weeks, I don't know if it will, but if it does, I don't want anybody saying, oh my gosh, I should have bought. I'm telling you right now, I'm buying. The last time I told you I was buying was WorldCoin, and it did a almost 4x in 2 weeks. Nobody else bought. Nobody else. Granted, I sold too soon. I'll give you that. Bought the bottom. It went to 22.76. I bought at 23.05 right there. Told everyone in Discord, showed the screenshot. I just bought WorldCoin right there. 210%. That is over a 3x. 210% is not a 2x. That is a 3x, over 3x. A lot of people get confused on that. You could do the math. 23 cents up to 70 cents is not 2x. 23 times 2 is 46. So you have to add an X multiplier onto however many percent it is when you're talking hundreds of percent. They still can't fill my Flux order. I had to do post only, otherwise I would have ripped the price up out of there and I would have gotten hit with major slippage. Bitcoin dumping, you gosh, dog, look at this dump. Man, these are 5-minute candles. You dumped all the way down. Goodness gracious. Hope you guys closed that long trade I gave you this morning. Remember when we started this stream before this dump, I told you guys that I closed my long. Not that I TP'd, I told you I closed it. So I hope you guys close yours as well. If not, you could still be in it. We haven't taken out the low yet, but this is that good old FOMC stuff we talk about. Still filling my order. 43%. I have another order for over 400,000 fetch in play right there. You see that? So if all in all, if I get both of these filled, I'll have over 800,000 coins for two coins that both come on. This is the wrong chart. That both coins went to over $3. I'll have 800,000 coins worth of $3 assets. You do the math. I don't think this one's going back to $3, though. I don't care. If it goes to 50 cents, I 10x my money. I'll tell you where you can not know anything about anything, nothing about nothing, and look at this chart and clearly see where this coin is very likely to go easily. Clear support resistance. Now, that may be as high as it goes. And I don't really care, but you see that? You see that? Look at this, guys. Resistance, resistance, support, support. Resistance, resistance, 30 cents, which is a 6x from current price, if nothing else. If it never gets above that, I mean, that is your line in the sand. And if you get above that, you're gone. All right? You're gone. I mean, you're at least coming into all this. 70, 80 cents. This is a no-brainer coin to me. This is my dark horse coin. This coin, I'm not going to go into the fundamentals too much on it, but it competes with Nosana and Akash. I say Akash. It is not AI directly, but it deals in GPUs, which help facilitate AI. Just go look it up. It's way over my head. Y'all know what I understand. But this narrative is going to be white hot. Now, unfortunately, this coin does not have the popularity of Nosana or Akash, but it doesn't matter. I don't need it to have the popularity of that to come back up to 350. That's great if it does. I don't need that. It does have you're almost you're doubling your circulating supply. So if you do the same market cap, you don't do any better than you did last cycle. You're going to come to $1.65 on this. $1.65. And I just bought it at 5 cents. Hawkborn, what's up? Hawkborn's my workout buddy. Hawkborn's going to come to Mississippi with Thanos, and we're going to work out. Thanos is going to teach us some jiu-jitsu. He might hurt me. I'm old. I'm stiff. I ache. I'll be 45 in a few days. Couple weeks. July 4th of July. Salt Chain hopes the new guy isn't as boring as JP. Yeah, gosh, it doesn't get much worse than Jerome, right? Big fish. I am not a big fish. Give the appearance of big fish. I do want to go over one chart that we looked at. Let me refresh. They're moving. People are jumping in front of me now. Bastards. Okay, let's look at this. We got 15 minutes. Let's go to the weekly Bitcoin charts. We posted this for weeks leading up to Kevin Warsh taking office. We're gonna show this chart because it's FOMC related, right? And we haven't updated it, but we looked at this at the weekly FOMC swear-ins and how Bitcoin has reacted each time you had a new Fed chair sworn in, right? And we looked way back here, Janet Yellen back in 2014, the first week, price dumped 24%, followed by 51% in the first month. And you can see that clearly just kicked off the final leg of the bear market. It wound up being a much bigger dump total. But we're just talking about the first week and the first month. Same thing here, J. Romy in 2018, first week 26%, and then that was it. This first month, 20% was not an extra 20%. It was just actually you bounced 6%. But either way, it kicked off the final leg of the bear market. You can see wound up leading to a major drop over time. And it was kicked off maybe by the swear in. Who knows? I don't know. It just happened to be during that time. All right. 2022, Jay Romey stayed in office, but he still had to take the swear-in ceremony again. First week, he dumped 7%, followed by 42%, but actually wound up being even larger dump than that. So same thing, kicked off the final leg of the bear market. And here, we were looking forward to this, and we told you we would look for the dump, and I haven't updated this, so let's actually update this with Kevin Warsh's stats. We won't have the first month, because he was sworn in on May 22nd, and it hasn't quite been a month yet. So we'll just have to do the best we can here. So what did we get in the first? Let me move this so I can see the candle. And we'll see what we got in the first week. May 18, right there. We got a 4% dump. That's his first week. And so far, we're not done. I mean, this may be all we get. I don't know. But so far, we've gotten a total of 23% in the first month. I know we're bouncing. I'm not talking about where it is now. I'm talking about what do we get total. And that's what we're looking at. Let me move this back. Lock it in. Lock it in. Lock it in. Boom. Why is this not staying locked in place? Help if I click the anchor button. I didn't know you could do that. Whoa, I just learned something new. Look at that anchor button. I had no idea you could do that. Look at that. See how these are staying in a fixed position, and this one's just, these are staying attached to where the candles are? I've never done that before. It's the first time I've noticed that anchor button. That's what that does. Neat. I told you all in Discord yesterday, I learn new things all the time. They didn't fill my order. 43%. Bastards. Okay, so so far the trend is sticking. New chair, you got a 23% dump. That would be in line with over here with Jerome's first. You got a 26%, nothing more. But the other two, you got massive continuation over the next couple weeks. So we'll see if we continue down or if this is all we get. It could really go either way. It's happened both ways. But either way, the minimum percentage down we were looking for was 26%, because 26%, because of all of these, 51%, 42%, and 26%, that was the less. 26%, and we got 23, so pretty dang close. When you combine that with our Babylon 2.0 cross and everything else, this was an easy trade to take, guys. Easy, and I hate to keep flashing it, but you knew it. You knew it. We had the Kevin Warsh coming in, FOMC stat. We had the Babylon 2.0 stat. We had everything we needed. Triple drive of daily bearish divergence. All right. Let's see if they're getting ready. Pull this over. They're not ready yet. I got it over here, though. Oh, they're back up trying to fill my order some more. Almost. I'm number 2 in line now. It must mean Bitcoin's dumping some more. Yeah, Bitcoin headed back down. Let's flip back over. Okay, let's look at the poll before this press conference starts. Let's see. Will Kevin Warsh be dovish or hawkish? 42% say dovish. 25 hawkish. All right, here's what I think, guys. Here's what I think. All right. And I'm going to tell you some keywords to listen for, okay? First of all, the economy sucks. Okay. As far as interest rate cutting goes, the economy sucks. Inflation is way back on the rise. Now, it's not as high as it was several years ago, but it is headed back that way fast. Okay. So he cannot cut rates. Okay. He cannot do it. Trump wants him to do it. First of all, he can't do it anyway. He doesn't have the power. He's just one vote amongst the committee. Now, he does have some sway, but Jerome is still there. He's not the chair anymore, but he's a temporary governor, and I think he can stay on for a year, 6 months or a year, which means he gets a vote. He's like a committee member now. He's 6 months or a year before he has to remove himself from that role. So Kevin doesn't have the power to cut rates. He's just kind of an influence. Second of all, the inflation sucks, so he can't cut rates even if he wanted to. I mean, I guess he could do whatever he wants, but ethically, he can't cut rates because it sucks. But Trump wants them cut, and he's Trump's boy. So I really think, and this has happened before, I think he's going to come out, and I heard him do an interview a couple weeks ago where they were asking about inflation, and he's talking about inflation's not as bad as you think, that they're rewriting the criteria for the inflation report. In other words, they're fixing to manipulate the statistics, okay? He's talking about, yeah, inflation's a little higher, granted, but it's because there's so much emphasis on such and such category. I can't remember if he said food or energy or both or what it was, oil, gas, I can't remember. He said, so if we remove those or place less weight on those categories and more weight on these categories. So in other words, he's trying to cherry pick the categories that he wants to be reflected in the total inflation report. Okay, that's exactly what he was saying. So in other words, he wants to manipulate the report so that he can justify cutting rates. It does not mean inflation is down, though, okay? So that is going to be his goal. He's already said that, okay? It's just like back in the Biden administration, how we were technically in a recession. And if you guys remember, they literally rewrote the definition of recession so that they could say they're not in a recession, but we were in a recession, right? But not technically, because now recession is defined differently. Same thing that he's trying to do here. So Democrats, Republicans, they do the same thing to fit whatever narrative they want to shift the economy, okay? They're both terrible. But here's the problem. If he can't get these reports shifted the way he needs, then they're going to have to raise rates. So I think that's what's going to have to happen. Eventually, they're going to raise rates sooner rather than later. But I think he's going to come out and tell us that they're not likely to raise rates and more likely to cut. I think he's going to tell us that, but I don't think it's true, which could lead, I'm just going to speculate here, could lead to some bullish narrative. Everyone thinks, yes, Warsh is in. He just came out, confirmed he's Trump's boy. We're going to cut rates, and come about October when they actually raise rates, boom, that's when you get your Bitcoin low, because he crashes the whole damn thing because he wasn't able to manipulate the reports the way he wanted to. That's just what I think. Could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I hope he comes out and he's bullish. He talks about cutting rates, and they cut them sons of bitches, and we rally up to all-time highs. I've got me 400,000 Flux coins now. I'll ride it. I don't care. Actually, I don't. They didn't fill my order all the way. So if he comes out in a few minutes and you hear him say anything, I'm telling you, it's going to crash the market now. Okay, but it's actually bullish. But if he comes out, but the market interprets it wrong every single time, and it takes him a minute to figure it out. If he comes out and talks anything about the treasury or bond market and about how they're going to support the bond market, they're going to make sure the bond market stays strong or healthy, anything about the bond or the treasury, any of that stuff, if he says anything about the Fed supporting that or making sure that doesn't crash or making sure that stays strong, watch out below, because everyone, because people perceive that as there's a major problem. The Fed is about to have to step in, and they're going to let everything else go to protect the treasury and bond. That is perceived as, and it is a major problem, and that is exactly what they're doing. However, what you'll figure out, the way that they support those is they turn the money printers back on. And when everybody knows when the money printer go brr, that a lot of that flows into the stock market and into crypto. So if he comes out talking about it, it's going to be perceived as problems in the economy. It's going to be taken as bearish, and you're going to see a major fast dump. But you're going to find out in 2-3 weeks, a month from now, whenever it is, when money printers go brr, because of him talking about that, then you're going to see prices rip to the upside. So, and it's just simply destroying the economy is what it's doing. You're printing more money, which is causing inflation to go up in the long run, but you're putting a Band-Aid on it. And that's probably what they're going to do headed into midterms, because it's one of those, let's make it look good for right now so we can get our people elected at midterms, and then we'll worry about it later. It's one of those. And I just think that's what's fixing to happen. And it starts today. We're going to find out here in about 5 minutes. Now, remember, I'm going to go ahead and start getting this set up. Remember, he's I don't know, he's not Jerome, but Jerome used to always come out and give a little like 5-minute, 3-minute, whatever it was, prepared speech, blah, 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 blah. Nothing. And what mattered was the questions, the Q&A afterwards. So don't tune out whenever he's giving his little speech. That's just something somebody wrote for him. You know, what matters is how he answers the questions afterwards. I'm going to keep Bitcoin chart on here. Let me refresh it and clear it up a little bit, and then we're going to pull Kevin Warsh over. Let's see what you guys have to say before. Kasim, what's up, bro? Says, we'll hit rock bottom by morning. I got out of the spot market, and I'm glad I did. Otherwise, I would have gone bankrupt. Yeah, we could. We could hit rock bottom by tomorrow. I agree. I don't really know what he's going to say. I think he's Trump's boy. I think he's going to come out and talk the game because that's what Trump wants to hear, but I don't think he can follow through or deliver because the reports are so bad, the data's so bad. I don't think he can deliver, but he's going to come out and talk it to please Trump. But at the end of the day, the data is the data, and the only way to deliver on what Trump wants is to manipulate the data, which he's already stated. I wish I had gone back and found it, that interview where he basically said they're going to manipulate the data. He did it in a PC kind of way, but that's exactly what he was saying. Joe could see that happening. Me too, bro. All right, here we go. Let me I will have chat pulled up, and I'm going to keep this up here so we can watch Bitcoin. If you guys are watching any other asset and something like gold or the S&P or an altcoin just starts taking off or crashing hard, y'all chat it up, and I'll try to pull that chart up. I'm going to put these side by side, though. Look at the stiletto. Oh, that's funny. I'm going to turn my camera and mic off, but I will be here in chat, and I'll try to type things on the screen too if I see something or hear something that we kind of maybe need to pay attention to or I think is important. But yeah, keep hitting up chat if y'all see anything, guys. Let's check on our trade real quick. These bastards. I'm up. I mean, I am up. There. That's me. See the X right there? That's how you know it's my order. They still can't get by it. They still can't get past my order. These people down here are pissed. I'm telling you, they're like, somebody get that fool out of the way. That big ass order holding up price. You know, all these other assets, if you're watching the chart, they're like, pew, 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 pew. And Flux is just stuck right here. I can't fill my order. It can't move. I used to hate it when I would see big guys do that. Whenever I had like $1,000 to trade with, and they'd be sitting up there with $100,000 and holding. I would get so mad. Now I'm that guy. Let me know when we get started too. Somebody let me know about audio if y'all can't hear, if it's too loud or if it's too whatever. So somebody let me know and I'll fix it real quick. Oh, by the way, we talked real quick, but we talked the other day about Trump, and everybody keeps pumping and dumping when he comes out with this Iran news. Oh, we got a deal. Oh, deal's off. Oh, ceasefire. Just kidding. Dropping bombs. And I told you guys, I said, stop. Like it's the boy that cried wolf. Just stop. Look what Trump came out and said today. They were asking about the deal, and he said, oh, we'll go right back to dropping bombs if I don't like the deal. Talking about the deal on Friday that they're supposed to go look at. Oh, we'll start. Listen to me. I would be amazed. Somebody said this in Discord the other day. Brad, maybe. Johnny. Somebody would say they would be amazed if this deal gets done. I would too. It's the boy that cried wolf. But every time he says something, people go and buy or go and sell. It's like, just can y'all just wait till the ink is dried and then we'll figure it out? He said this this morning. We'll go right back to dropping bombs if I don't like the deal. Yeah, get ready for bombs. And I don't want that, y'all. Don't think it's funny. I just want Trump to stop tweeting every time something pops in his head. That's it. And I like Trump. I'm just tired of him wrecking my trades. Oh, here you go. Anybody want? Here's the link. Free. Go get you. Well, I lied. I don't have the link. I don't know where it is. MEXC, guys. Log out of your current MEXC account. Click this link. Register a new MEXC account. With that link, click the blue register now button. You'll get a free 1,500 USDT to trade with. You have to use that link. It's for the Anthony Lee Crypto Crew. You have to click the register now button, deposit $100, and just primary KYC. You don't even have to advance. The primary, hold that $100 in your account for 24 hours. They will airdrop you $1,500. Max turn is into $7,000 on a 100x, the Babylon 2.0 trade. 100x'd it. Hawkmore says Trump's making billions from his own back and forth. I believe it 100%. 100%. Max is truth. Yeah, he is. I 100%. Trump's all like, well, people. He may love America. He may love his kids. He may love his wife. He may love pizza. But Trump likes money more than he likes anything else. And everybody's always, and I'm not knocking the guy, but everybody's always known that about him. That's always been his thing, right? Is this thing not going yet? Let's refresh. Oh, my bad, guys.
Guys, Nina just built an app.
Impossible.
Nina can't.
The target range for the Fed funds rate at 3.5 to 3.75% in support of the Fed's dual mandate. The committee also reaffirmed its policy of maintaining ample reserves in the banking system. Economic activity is expanding at a solid pace, despite elevated uncertainty that owes in part to the conflict in the Middle East. Productivity growth and capital investment both strong. Job gains have kept pace with the workforce, and the unemployment rate has changed little. We recognize that inflation has been running well ahead of the Fed's long-stated inflation goal of 2%. That's been going on for more than 5 years. Persistently high prices are a burden for the American people. But the recent past need not be prologue. I am pleased to report that members of the FOMC are unambiguous and unanimous. This committee will deliver price stability. At any institution, a change in leadership is a natural and timely opportunity to reaffirm its mission, to review current practices, and to consider whether those practices best meet our objectives. My Fed colleagues and I will be working in close collaboration to ask what changes might improve the conduct of monetary policy. On that score, you might have already noticed something, a difference in today's policy statement. It's a bit shorter, a bit simpler, and it dispenses with some older language. That statement just gives you the facts as best we can judge it. Absent also is so-called forward guidance, which we agreed was not well suited to the current policy conjuncture. This afternoon, you also received the usual summary of economic projections. It's been the practice of this committee for participants to submit these projections, and I have encouraged my colleagues to continue to do so. I, however, have refrained from offering any projections of my own, consistent with my long-held views on the SEP, at least as currently structured. In the median projections, real GDP rises at 2.2% this year, 2.3% next year, and total PCE inflation runs at 3.6% this year, 2.3% next year. The unemployment rate stands at about 4.3%. The median participant judges that the appropriate federal funds rate to be at 3.8% at the end of this year and 3.6% at the end of next. Let me turn now to a few words on a key initiative that we're announcing today. I'm appointing a task force in each of 5 areas that are central to the broad conduct of monetary policy. First, Fed communications. Second, the Fed's balance sheet. Third, our use and reliance on existing data sources. Fourth, productivity and jobs in an era of transformation. And last, the Fed's inflation frameworks. These subjects are timely, consequential, and in my view, worthy of a fresh look. My colleagues and I discussed them with energy and purpose over the last couple of days. For each of these independent task forces, I'm enlisting some of the very best minds, both inside and outside the economics profession. They will be supported by subject matter specialists from our superb Fed staff. And they'll have a straightforward charge. Start with first principles. Ask hard questions. Examine current practice. Consider alternatives. And ultimately, propose next steps for policymaker consideration. Since last summer, my colleagues discussed possible improvements in the form and function of Fed communications. This new task force will build on that effort, and I expect propose some well-considered changes, including to the SEP I mentioned a few moments ago. The second task force, the one on balance sheet policy, will review the benefits and risks of the current ample reserves regime and the composition of the Fed's balance sheet. They will assess alternative frameworks for the conduct and operation of monetary policy. The third task force, the one on data, will evaluate new information sources and consider methodological changes to improve data gathering, with the aim of giving policymakers more accurate, relevant, contemporaneous, and perhaps most important, actionable information on the state of our economy. Fourth, the task force on productivity and jobs. It'll survey the pace, the reach, the economic impact of new general purpose technologies, including AI, and explore the implications for the Fed in pursuit of our employment and inflation mandates. The last task force, the one on inflation frameworks, that'll examine the drivers of inflation, first principles, and weigh the full range of ideas for delivering price stability in a changing economy. You'll hear quite a bit more about these task forces and this overall initiative in the coming weeks. Enough for now to make a simple statement. Each task force will serve an objective shared by everyone in the system, shared by everyone around that table that I sat with over the last couple of days. A Federal Reserve that is clear-eyed about its mission, fit for purpose, and focused on the future. And with that, I appreciate your attention. I'm happy to take your questions.
Howard Schneider.
Hi, Chairman Howard Schneider with Reuters. Good to see you again, and welcome back. This is a lot to be putting in motion so fast. What is the timeline you have in mind for each of these?
So I think it'll depend on the task force. It also depends on the urgency.
Each employee's healthcare needs are unique. Shouldn't their coverage be as well? Group plans are limited
Of recruiting and finalizing them. My expectation is the task forces will begin work in the next couple of weeks, and we'll start to get some more information from them, some more framing of how they see things starting in the fall end, hopefully most, if not all of them, concluding by year end.
And just specifically on the inflation framework, you talk about first principles. Does this include a review of the 2% target itself? You've mentioned that things to the right of the decimal point don't matter. Should this be starting from a premise that 2% as a point estimate is too strict?
Let me break that into two pieces. First, on the inflation framework review, their remit is what are the drivers of inflation? What's the Fed's responsibility for inflation? In part, how do we measure inflation? But that'll overlap with my data group. On the 2% inflation objective, that is the Federal Reserve's long-held objective of 2%. You've heard me say before, I tend to focus on the left of the decimal point. Well, the 2 is the left of the decimal point. For now, 0 is to the right. I see no reason until we have reestablished our commitment and ability to deliver on the 2% inflation objective to revisit that. So that'll be outside the scope of what we're taking on.
Colby.
Thank you so much. Colby Smith with the New York Times. You've in the past said that inflation is a choice, and in the policy statement, it includes this pledge to deliver price stability, as you've reiterated today. But looking at the SEP, the bulk of your colleagues expect core PCE to run around 3.3% by year end, and for the 2% inflation target not to be reached until 2028. So I'm curious how patient you think the Fed can afford to be at this juncture in terms of waiting for one-time inflation waves to wash through and for underlying inflation to step down after so many years of inflation running above target, and under what circumstances you would support the Fed taking some action and raising rates.
Sure. So quite a bit there. Let me try to break that into pieces. First, we have the capability and commitment to deliver on our price stability objective of 2%. That's exactly what we're going to do. In the Fed's review of its strategy over the last any number of years, in January, the Fed, including the strategy that we're still bound by, the Fed statement says that inflation is primarily determined by monetary policy. You bet it is. I've said for years inflation is a choice. You bet it is. And today I'm announcing that this committee unambiguously and unanimously have decided we are going to deliver on that. The rest of your questions sounded like an encouragement for me to give forward guidance. We've dropped forward guidance. Some along the committee, I think, dropped it, I suspect, from our discussion the last couple of days, because they said at this moment in time, it doesn't feel as though providing forward guidance is right. Others have, I'd say, different views and think as a general proposition, forward guidance isn't the business we should be in. But that'll be taken up by the Task Force on Communications and my policymaker colleagues. We're going to listen hard to what the experts say and make our own decision. But I can't give any forward guidance about what we're going to do next. The good news is we'll be meeting in 6 weeks.
So just following up, I guess, on the current policy settings, then I am curious how restrictive you think things are at the current moment, given the flow of data that we've seen and forecasts that are coming down the pipeline.
Yeah, I've heard characterizations both inside and the Fed about that. I'll give you my own. It's uneven. If I look at the housing markets as one example, Fed policy isn't the single determinant of the state of the housing market. But broadly, I would say there, Fed policy appears to be somewhat restrictive. I would have a hard time managing to say those words if I were to see what's happening in financial markets. So I'd say it's uneven. That's perhaps a function of different transmission mechanisms of monetary policy. whether monetary policy is coming from our interest rate tool or our balance sheet tool. But the good news, we have a task force on that too, and the balance sheet task force will be looking more at that subject.
Mike McKee.
You've said you don't like forward guidance. You dropped it from the statement this time. But with the dot plot, 9 members suggested that they want a rate increase by the end of the year. And the markets have taken that as forward guidance. So what does this mean in terms of how you guide the markets and in terms of what the dot plot's future is?
I'm going to have to give you the same answer I gave to Ms. Smith. We've got a task force for that. I'll give you a little bit more. I reviewed the dot plots, and when I saw the submissions, I noted that all the submissions were coming in with pencils, you know, those kind with the big erasers. That's to say that I think my colleagues around the table, when they submitted their dots, understand the world is changing quite quickly. And they didn't feel bound by them 6 weeks from now or 6 days from now in the event that their circumstances change. I'll note a couple other things. What I heard around the table was, as they submitted their modal forecasts, to be clear, weren't, this was more likely than not. This was more likely than their other scenarios. So I didn't hear tons of conviction. What I heard was the kind of humility that I think we should have. I did not submit a dot. For me, it's not helpful in the conduct of policy. I suspect by year end, as I mentioned in my opening statements, there'll be a review about communications broadly, press conferences, dots, meetings and the like, transcripts, minutes. This will be part of that. I don't want to prejudge the outcomes there, but I'm pretty open-minded about what they could be. And I was just incredibly impressed over the last couple of days. My colleagues over the last 2 days, and frankly, over the first 3 weeks I've been here, they've been very open about changes. Change isn't easy, change is filled with risk, but our number one goal is to get monetary policy right. The way to get monetary policy right is to deliver on the remit that Congress gave us, to deliver on price stability, and there was no disagreement on any of those points.
At the risk of possibly getting the same answer about task forces, communications, what is your feeling about these news conferences? Are you going to continue one after every meeting? Do you find them useful? What is the future for the way Kevin Warsh will communicate?
Well, this one's probably got another 15 or 20 minutes in it, so I don't want to prejudge the outcome. Press conferences can be a very useful way to communicate with households, businesses, and more broadly through using the likes of you. I had a great old mentor named George Schultz, and his mantra was press conferences are useful, but when you have one, you want to make sure you have something important to say. Today, I think we had something important to say about our commitment to deliver on price stability, our commitment to rethink practices with an eye of moving the Fed forward, and to give you and the American people a sense that these aren't idle thoughts, these are concrete thoughts, that we're going to seek out the best minds, both the best thinking inside of the Federal Reserve and the best people I know in business and economics and the academy and technology and the rest, to share their views. That's what we're going to be doing here, the pursuit of truth. I think we're going to come up with some new and interesting things. We made some changes today. I expect more changes to come. And some of those might well be worthy of a press conference.
Chris Rugaber.
Hi, Chris Rugaber at Associated Press. Thanks for taking our questions. Could you give us a sense of how you see inflation more in the long term? I know you may not want to comment on the ups and downs, but is this mainly driven by energy prices in the Iran war at this point, or do you have any concerns about underlying inflation pressures in the economy? Thank you.
So I can't do much better than the committee just did, so let me restate it. Inflation remains elevated relative to the committee's 2% goal, in part reflect.
When it comes to travel, you're a winner. That's why when you sit behind a crying baby.
The paragraph goes on to say, but to be clear, the Fed will deliver price stability. My own judgment is the committee spent quite a bit of time, not just in 2 days, but over iterations of a couple of weeks, That's what we're prepared to say about inflation, but the commitment to deliver is strong, unanimous, and unambiguous. And that's, I think, an important message. We've missed for 5 years, and we're going to fix that.
Well, great. And then just on the data task force and everything else, I mean, generally speaking, I think people feel the Fed looks at everything already. Certainly that was the sense from before. Is there data that you feel is not given enough weight? I mean, you mentioned the trimmed mean in the past, but again, that's well known to certainly most Fed members. So what is that task force looking at, and what might be I mean, I know you don't want to prejudge the outcome, but are there examples of data that you expect might be given more weight? Thank you.
So you're answering my question, so let me say I don't want to prejudge the outcome. I also don't want to say too much about what they're going to do because I still have a phone call or two to make before I've nailed down the people that are doing that. I'm interested in what the outside experts' view is on the subject. I'll say this generally. Most of the data that central bankers and other government officials in the United States consume come with old-fashioned survey methods, a national accounts of what the U.S. economy looks like that looks very little like the U.S. economy in 2026. Survey methods that don't have response rates that we need, asking questions that might have been quite applicable a generation ago that are less applicable now. So even inside of official statistics, I would be open-minded if the task force and our own best thinking had recommendations how those official statistics can be brought up to a standard of our time using new analytic methods. I'd also say this, almost every private company CEO that's running his or her business are doing so with real-time information that isn't subject to much revision, that is telling them what just happened at that very moment. As you know, there are normal, long and variable lags in the conduct of monetary policy. What we're really interested in is what's happening right now. What we're less interested in is echoes of history. And you're hearing from my answer that some of the data that we receive, that we're waiting on, the first Friday after the month, the payroll index or something else, that might be an echo of history that's quite useful on its third revision. We need to take those error bounds down because we have to make hard decisions in real time. I'm really open-minded that there is a lot of new data sources that we can learn from the private sector, from reforms in the official sector, and new analytic techniques that are far more refined than asking a simple question about whether something was core or non-core.
Edward.
Thanks. Welcome, Mr. Chairman. Edward Lawrence with Fox Business. So if you don't give a lot of ongoing forward guidance, won't the markets have more volatility, and shouldn't Americans have more access into what you're thinking going forward?
So I think financial markets perform best when they react to incoming data. I think the financial markets work less efficiently when they ask a question, how will the Federal Reserve react to that incoming information? The more that markets are paying attention to what's happening in the real economy, deciding what's good data and what's less good data, the more financial markets can price what they believe is the most likely and what are the tail risks. Financial market prices are probably the most important source of information to guide central bankers. But when all the financial markets are doing is reflecting back what we've said, then we're taking the most important source of information and we're being blind to it. I'd like us to create a system where those blinders come off, where markets are following data that they efficiently think is reliable, and they'll be watching data, we'll be watching data, they'll come with better information through market prices to us, we can make more informed decisions, with ultimately the goal that I said at the outset, deliver on the price stability objective that Congress told us to do, and that we've got to get in the business of doing.
Yeah, if I could take you in the meeting a little bit. This is your first meeting. The board members seem fairly hawkish when you listen to, in general, when you listen to what they're saying. Was there any discussion of a rate cut going forward today?
There was one proposal on the table. There was no discussion of any other proposals. The discussion on that proposal, I would say, was quite limited. The group was unanimous and unambiguous on it. It has been the practice of this central bank and others to have a range of alternatives. Today we had one. I thought it furthered the discussion, deepened it, and made it clear what we needed to do and how we needed to deliver. I wouldn't prejudge what happens in the future, but there was only one big subject for us. We took it on. We had a good family fight on it for a couple of days, and we ended up, I think, in a better place.
Claire.
Thanks a lot, Claire Jones, Financial Times. Coming to this blind, reading this very nice short statement that I think we've all appreciated in the room, one might wonder why you didn't raise rates today, considering what you're saying here about the risks to US inflation and your mandate. I guess, why not, and what would you need to see in order to get to that place? And secondly, on your task forces, are there any best practices at other central banks that you'd consider looking at? Thank you.
Yeah. I'm glad they're in the practice of giving you two questions, because my answer to your first question was going to be very curt. I've got nothing more to say than the statement itself. And to the point of the question I got before, market reactions to what we say unfiltered, I think is more helpful than having delivered a statement, me then improvising further upon it. Best practices of task forces. This is a subject I've thought some about. I've been on a task force or two in my life. Best practice, find the best minds. Ensure that the task forces have a range of people, both by backgrounds and predispositions, so they too can have a bit of a family fight. Make sure when you establish a task force that the group that's going to be the recipient of the information feels as though they've got some equities in it too. That's why we're looking for, haven't done the final roll call, some of the most significant talent we have in the building and across the reserve banks on each of these, and in some sense seconding them to this group for a period of some number of months, so that the leaders of the task force know what the most analytical central bank in the world thinks about that. They can reflect on it. And a final best practice, we're not outsourcing decisions to anybody. Administrations past and present, reserve banks have chosen a group of 19 people around the table. These will be our decisions. We can agree to some of the recommendations, disagree with others, have a good family fight about it. But what comes from them will, I hope and believe, make the discussion we have internally better, stronger, more of a dialectic, so that we can finally deliver on that price stability objective.
Just a quick follow-up on your markets point. If you look at 2-year yields, they're really suggesting that markets think more tightening is needed. Would that be your read on what the 2-year yield is saying as well?
We were in such a good place. This is why we don't do third questions, I presume. I'm not going to offer any commentary on market reaction over the last 30 or 60 minutes. What we've given markets is a new chapter for the central bank, some fresh thinking. What we've given markets and households and businesses, I think, is a commitment to ask ourselves hard questions such that we can deliver on the promises that we've made before. This is a lot of change for financial markets to digest.
Hi, kids. Remember your dreams? All the future plans you made? Has private...
And at least as important, households and businesses know that this central bank will deliver on price stability.
Brian.
Hi there, Chairman Warsh. Brian Chung with NBC News. Thank you for taking our questions. So when you say that we've dropped forward guidance for the layperson, that might sound like the Fed's going to say less or offer less insight into where their borrowing costs might go. So for the person that maybe you might run into at the grocery store, where the price tags are rising at a faster pace than their wages at the moment, how would you explain it to them? I don't know if task force might be the answer there, but how would you kind of communicate this era, this chapter of the Fed?
If I told somebody in the milk aisle that I had a task force for that, I think that would be doing a very poor job, so I appreciate it. If I saw somebody in the grocery store, what I would say to them is that we cannot have a very significant effect on particular prices. the price of oil in the markets today, or even the price of a dozen eggs, that does not have first order consequences to what we're doing. But we do have a really important job there, and it's to make sure that those changes in oil or beef or eggs or milk don't broaden in the economy, don't have second and third order effects. That's our job, that's our commitment, that's our capability, and we're going to deliver on it.
And then is the Fed's relationship with the Treasury also under review? There was the normal breakfast meetings with the Treasury Secretary. Is that something you intend to continue doing? And have you had conversations with the President since you're swearing in?
So on the President, I don't have anything for you. With respect to the Treasury Secretary, he has been posting pictures of our breakfast, so I don't think I can deny that. The long tradition at the central bank is that the Fed Chairman and the Treasury Secretary meet weekly. I think we've pulled off 3 of those so far. I believe he's overseas this week, so this will be the exception to the rule. I think they're very useful discussions. The central bank's objectives and our roles and responsibilities are quite delineated from the fiscal authorities. And in my view, monetary policy is independent in the conduct of what we do. But that doesn't mean we're not interested in what's happening with the fiscal authorities. The way I think about it is this central bank needs to have a wide lens, but a narrow remit. We need to be quite interested in what's happening in the world. I won't be breaking any news here to suggest I'm quite interested in what's happening in the Middle East. That does have some effect on our day job. It doesn't mean it's our responsibility, but I think we're going to keep a wide lens, and my meetings with Secretary Besson to this point have helped widen that aperture. So we're aware of things that could affect our day job, even if it isn't.
Steve Leisman, CNBC. Mr. Chair, thank you. Mr. Chairman, thank you for taking my question. You had said in the before you became chairman that you thought productivity was a reason why the Federal Reserve could lower interest rates. Do you still believe that to be the case?
So the committee had a discussion of productivity today. AI came up. The way I thought about it before and socialized with the group is that artificial intelligence, the latest generation of general purpose technology, is perhaps as important a change in the economy and business and households that we've had in my adult lifetime. It is filled with both a huge opportunity and with risks. I take both of those very seriously. You may have heard me say before that AI is shorthand perhaps for American ingenuity. That doesn't mean that it's going to be easy. That certainly doesn't mean it's not going to be disruptive. But over the long term, my conviction, and I heard quite a bit of support for this around the committee today, is the United States is a winner as we go down this. The United States is ultimately going to be better off in that. Now, to bring that back to the conduct of policy, timing, scale, speed, implications for output and employment, it's one of the things we have a task force to do.
If you don't mind, a follow-up from the other side, which is that when you look at the strong job growth that's out there, the elevated inflation, GDP seems to be going pretty good, and the stock market seems to be soaring. Do you look around this economy and see the funds rate being restrictive?
So that's your second question. I'm going to give the same answer that I gave before. I'd say as I think about the conduct of policy, what matters is what's the effect of policy. Not what do we say, but what happens. And the best way I can describe it is it's uneven. I do see some restrictiveness in things like housing. It's hard to use those same words anywhere else. I'll just make one other point. You talked about one of our dual mandates on the employment side. I don't believe that we have a cruel choice. I don't share the view that was expressed a few generations ago that Federal Reserve chairmen show up at a podium like this and say, you got to choose. And you're going to have to decide whether you're willing to tolerate higher inflation to put more people at work. I don't believe in that. What I believe is if we do our job, we can make strong growth, low prices, and strong employment mutually compatible. And so what you heard from the committee today is we've got some work to do on the price stability front.
Nick.
Thank you. Nick Timoros with the Wall Street Journal. Chairman Warsh, you've said repeatedly credibility is earned by delivering. If credibility requires delivering, the move would be to tighten, or at least to threaten to. Now, you didn't do that today. Why not?
That judgment you expressed was not expressed by any of the 19 people around the table. We'll be meeting in 6 weeks. We'll take up the issue again.
And if I could ask about AI, the build-out is generating enormous demand right now, CapEx, data centers, power. The productivity payoff may be further out. So in your judgment today, is AI adding more to demand or to supply?
It's a good question. At the central bank in an economics profession, what we spend most of our time doing is counting demand. It's easier. We can see it, we can count it, we can check it, we can revise it. What we do, though, is we infer supply. You'll notice in the second paragraph of what one of your colleagues described as a very short statement, we have a sentence on the demand side and a sentence about the same length on the supply side. They're both important. Just because we can count one better than the other doesn't mean we're going to favor one more than the other. With respect to AI and the growth of data centers and infrastructure around it, we're counting the demand side, and it is no doubt showing up in GDP figures. We can be less certain when we infer the timing and extent of the growth in the supply side. It may well be an intuition the supply side is going to expand, but it'll take longer. I just describe it this way. There's a race between supply and demand. Milton Friedman says that the only thing we know about economics is that there's a supply line and a demand line they ultimately cross. When they cross and what are the implications for policy? The good news for you is we have a task force for that.
Andrew.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. It sounded like on the task force on data that you were looking at overhauling or completely overhauling the system of national accounts, the way the government mines the economy. Is that your ambition?
In a word, no. In a few words, much of this data gathering happens in other government agencies to which we owe a tremendous amount of respect, tremendous amount of deference. But if in the course of this we come up with recommendations, which Fed staff have already begun to develop, about things that they could be doing to help inform us as policymakers, we're not going to hesitate. Again, I don't want to try to delineate the four corners of the research of the task force on data, but I do think that
the high-quality industrial products you need. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
So he said a whole lot of nothing there. It is painfully obvious that he is Trump's boy. They asked him so many times hawkish questions about inflation or cutting rates, and he avoided. He can't be dovish because he knows he can't get the vote. He knows that the committee is hawkish, so he can't come out and be like, oh, we're going to cut rates, even though that's what Trump wants. He can't deliver on it. He doesn't want to lose his credibility. But at the same time, he knows he's Trump's boy. Trump does not want him to be hawkish, so he's deflecting every hawkish answer. He's deflecting it. So make no bones about it. As soon as he can cut rates, he's going to. He just has not won over the committee. You know, it's politicking. He hasn't pulled in enough favors or whatever he's got to do behind the scenes. So very, very just neutral, basically. But it's clear the committee is hawkish and that they want to raise rates. He just doesn't want to say that because that's not what he was hired for. Bitcoin did not much there. It's moving down. This is what I think is about to happen unless it just absolutely nukes. I'm still trying to get this damn order filled. It's like 85% filled on Flux. Everybody's so mad. I'm still just holding up price up there. Oh, gosh. Oh, well. Yeah, so just a whole lot of nothing there, guys. This was, oh my gosh. I used to complain about Jerome and how boring he was. And after watching this guy, I'm like, please bring Jerome back. He was 10 times more entertaining than this guy. All right. So you guys know what I'm looking for. Flux, guys. Let me run through Flux for those. Go watch the video. But I know some folks are probably thinking, what in the hell is Flux? It's a GPU, AI type, whatever. I don't know. It's way over my head. But let's look at it briefly. Very, very, very briefly here. And it is not listed on Coinbase. So if it does get a Coinbase listing, and they've applied. So Coinbase, I don't think will tell you in advance what they're going to list. But the Flux company, project, whatever it's called, the team has stated that they have applied for a listing on Coinbase. This was some time ago, and I don't know how often all that stuff is reviewed or approved, but they have applied. If it is listed, you could get some pretty good stuff here. Let me pull over. I want to show you guys this in case you're wondering why I'm on it. Dang it. What did I misspell? And one more, guys. Uno mas. All right, so you had Flux hasn't been around that long, unfortunately, so we can't see previous bear market behavior. You were here in a bear market. This is bear market for Flux, but it was just kind of released right here, so you don't really know how it would have performed had it had an entire bear market. Well, I'm sorry, this was bear market. I lied. So you do have, but you didn't have an entire bull cycle, right? It was just kind of released here in the middle of the bull run, and then kind of shot up. So we don't know if it would have gone higher, or maybe it wouldn't have gone as high. Maybe it got hyped because it was brand new. We don't really know. Because it was released in the middle of a bull market right here in kind of mid-2021, and then had the bear market, okay? Now, I know it has gone significantly below its previous bear market low, and that's fine. I understand that it's bearish, so you can expect lower highs and lower lows. That's fine. I don't need this price to come back up to $3.34. It's at 5 freaking cents, okay? You can see a clear support and resistance here at 29.20. Let's look at, and circulating supply is increasing. You were at, let's see, at this high right here in 2021, you had 225 million coins. I thought I marked this out. I must not have saved this. I must not have saved this. When was that? December of 21. There you go. All right, so you have added some coins. By the time you hit the next cycle, and just bear with me, this could be a good opportunity, guys, or it may be terrible. I may be making a huge mistake. 440. So by next cycle, you'll be right there. So we're almost there. It is a decent increase from the all-time high, about 100%. So you've doubled your coins. Let's look at market cap. You've doubled your coins from your market cap all-time high, okay? So right there, you've doubled your coins. If you just did the same market cap as back here, then you would have half the price because you have twice as many coins. So you'd be at like $1.65, somewhere in there. But I have fibbed the last cycle high, 2024, to the bear market low. And here's what we're looking for. Most coins retrace to like a 618, 786, somewhere in here. Okay, we all know that's the average. Some coins do better and come take out the highs on market cap. And you could take out the high on market cap and still not set a high on price. It depends on how many coins you put in the market. Like here, you could come take out this high right here at $700 million. You could go to $800-900 million, $1 billion, and still not set a new price high, even though you have a higher market cap because you have more coins. You'd have to go to 1.5 billion in order for you to hit this price all-time high, right? Not likely to happen, but it certainly could. But either way, let's assume that we do an underperformance here. This one just doesn't catch fire, even though it is a hot narrative. And let's just say maybe it goes to the 0.5 fib, which would be a underperformance, certainly for a coin like this in the GPU sector. 300 million, very, very just average performance, conservative, 300 million. And that is going to give you, I have a price prediction on here. Actually, I predicted it for 240 million, which would give you a 55-cent token. And that comes in right there around that point of control, which is about 60 cents, which is a 12x from here. That is a 12x from here on an average conservative, really underperformance. Last cycle, from cycle to cycle, you retraced to the 786. So you hit, oh gosh, wrong one. You hit a 786 retrace. You can see that from cycle 1, bear market, cycle 2, right? You just kind of ran that 786. So I'm being conservative and saying you only go to a 0.5, which you blew that out of the water last time. Now, should you go to the golden pocket, that's going to give you a $400 million market cap. $400 million market cap divided by 440 million tokens. That's going to give you a price of 90 cents, okay? 90 cents from a price of 5 cents today. That is like a 22.5x. So I'm just saying, if this coin does average golden pocket, you're going to get a 20x. If this massively underperforms, massive flop of a coin, and of course it can go to 0, but if it just massively underperforms, you're going to get a 10 to 12x here, guys. And this is a white hot sector. GPUs with AI, that's why I call it a dark horse. I know the chart looks like shit, but this is a dark horse, and I just bought 400,000 of them. I'm in the process. You can see here, right here where I'm circling, I have filled my order for 354,000. And I think it goes lower. Oh, I'll show you another thing that's in the video that I really like about it. I know I'm holding up time, but hey, if you guys care about making money, you should pay attention. Not financial advice. But if we come swoop this low again, which I think we will, and okay, if we're going to come lower, why am I buying now? But because I don't care. Because I don't care. Everybody who, believe me, I've done this long enough. Everybody who's trying to time and get it on the exact 1/10 of a penny, if you're trying to do that, guys, I'm telling you, you're going to wind up buying it up here. Because you're going to wait and wait and wait and wait. Oh, it's coming back. Oh, it's coming back. Oh, it's coming back. Oh, it's coming back. Shoot, it's not coming back. I better buy in at 17 cents. I'm not doing that. I don't care. I bought the bottom-ish, and that's good enough. When this thing 12x's, 20x's, whatever it is, I don't care if I could have got a 22x and I only walked out with a 20x. So what? What I'm not going to do is walk out with a 5x because I wound up having a FOMO in because I waited on the bare bones penny bottom. I'm not doing it. Don't care. Don't care. Anyway, if you do come down and take this low one more time, right? Come into the value low, take this low, you're going to create some good weekly divergences, which some coins do that, and that's great. It's very bullish, okay? However, this coin is going to get it on the 2-week and the 3-week. Not only the 3-week, you're going to get a triple drive here, guys. A triple drive, right? Because you got it from here to there to there. You can see that. See it on the weekly, clear as day. Triple drive. Just like that. This is going to be powerful, guys. This is going to be enough to at least propel you to this 30-cent target, okay? Which is right here, and that's if you pick this coin up. You'll probably be able to get this coin about 4 cents. You're probably going to get at least a 20% more pull down at some point, and I don't care. I will ride this down 20%. I don't care. I don't care because you may not. Or if you do, it may be one of these boom, boom, that's super fast in the middle of the night, and you miss it. I'm cool. I'm cool. If you bought this at 4 cents and I bought it at 5 cents and we went to 30 cents, I ain't going to be mad at you. I don't care. So just kind of food for thought. They did fill my order. They filled my order. Now if they could fill my $100,000 Fetch AI order, we'll be in business. Be in business. All right, guys. I like this coin. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I like it. I like it at the current price. From the bottom, when everything kind of came down in February, from the bottom, I know some coins did a little better. WorldCoin. But not all coins did this well. But this thing, a lot of coins ran 60, 70%, and this one put in a 100% rally, 99.33. So it is showing some strength, okay? This move down is so big because there's not a lot of coins, right? There's not a lot of coins. So if a big whale, a small whale comes and dumps, this thing's going to quick. But at the same time, if somebody comes and buys with about $1 million, boom, this thing's going to pump fast, fast, fast. So, all right, guys, any questions? Bitcoin is dumping down to our target, guys. I drew this on during the press conference, dumping down to our target. I'm going to buy some more flux real quick. Hang on. Let's buy. So we have $77,000 more to spend. Chump change. And I don't care if this goes to 4 cents. Hear me. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I'm not going to be mad. I don't care. 5286. Let's jump in front of this 17,000. I'm fixing to piss this guy off. Watch this. I got to make sure I'm post only. 5286. I'm fixing to piss this guy off royally. What do we want to buy? $10,000? $11,000? I want to buy like 204,000. I'll tell you what I want to buy. I want to buy 203,553. That's what I want to buy. Uh-oh, price is dumping on me. Dang it, I was going to jump in front of that guy. There we go. 7, 4. Right there. Did I jump in front? No, he just, I don't know how they do that. Listen, I've been doing this for over a decade, and I don't know how they do that. But they have some orders like this. There'll be big orders like this 18,000 order that as soon as I'll enter my price above them within a fraction of a second. As soon as I enter mine, there's automatically jumps. There's not enough time for somebody to cancel that order and re-enter it above mine. But it'll do it automatically. I can do this 10 times, and every time it'll jump a fraction of a penny above mine. I don't know how they do that, and it drives me crazy. Let's see if I can jump him. I'm going to try to jump him. See if he jumps me. Watch. Just 18. See how he jumped me right there? He just jumped me like that. Like that. Before my order was even complete, it jumped. If anybody knows how to do that, bots. Freaking bots. It's got to be a bot. Eon's got to go watch the video, bro. Freaking bots. I didn't even think of bots. It's a bot. It's a damn bot. It's got to be a bot. They got a bot in here that automatically puts him one notch in front of anybody that outbids him. Bastards. Oh, gosh. We came right down to the level, guys. Hitting a little bounce-a-rooney here, guys. Look at that. I drew this when price was up here. I drew it from right here. Look at that, guys. Freaking bots. You're right. It's bots. All right, I'm in the I got 11,000. Come on, fill this order. 11,000 more dollars. 203,000. That's going to give me 396,447 plus 203,553. 600,000 flux. I'll write it to 30 cents and sell it for 180 grand. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Or I'll ride it up to, what was our other target? I don't even know my targets. 55 cents and sell it for, what would that be? This is either going to 59 cents or 55 cents or $1. 600,000. That'd be my minimum target. 55 cents times 55. All right, so I'm looking at $330,000 profit on this. And if we get through that, and I got to mark this out with market cap. I'm going to mark this up today. If we get through that, we're going to probably value area high. But let's just say we go to $1, 600,000, $600,000 profit. This is why I don't care if it goes to 4 cents. I don't care. But Anthony, that's 20% less. I don't give a shit. You worry about your little 20%. I'm not knocking you guys. I'm talking about the guys that troll me on these video chats that think their little precious XLM is going to $12 and all this. Like, I don't care. People are worried about like 20% when I'm talking about like 800%, 1200%. That's crying over pennies when you're making dollars. You don't do that. You don't do that. Fill my order. There we go, 28%. I should just put 100. I should just put 74,000 more dollars on this. I should just do it. Why not? We got more. Jane, I'm mortgaging the house. Catherine, I mean. And sell the kids. I have no idea, Thanos. I'm undecided. It depends. Depends on how the rest of June plays out. I'll be able to tell you a lot more by the end of June. But, I mean, I'm buying for the bull run, so I'm not talking a pump. I'm talking like a cycle hold. However, depends on how the rest of June plays out. So I'm going to be trading this. Where it is. I don't have my chart marked up the way I need. I'm going to mark this up today. I'm going to put the technicals and my targets and stuff on this chart today. I just did the tokenomics on this. I just found this coin. I don't even know how I found this coin. I'll tell you, I did. Kind of funny. I found this. I went and commented on this dude twice, and he deleted my comment. This dude, listen, this is why I always tell you people, or everybody, period. I'm like, don't invest on something based upon the narrative. This dude, this little whiner, this little guy right here. Why I'm done with crypto projects like this. Then I watched this little video. I skimmed it. And he's all like, they said they were going to do this and they did that. I'm like, who gives a shit? That's why you invest on the technicals, because 9 times out of 10, their narrative is not going to play out the way you think it is. If it does, that's a bonus. But you should assume it doesn't. And what are you going to get on technicals? And this dude was all butthurt.
Flux.
Listen to him.
Is a suite of blockchain-related products that serve multiple purposes, some under different umbrellas. They do compute component, and that's why I say this is closer to master nodes than that, right? So many nodes as I want. Proof of stake. It's so obvious that I don't know what to say. This is like, it's like the Epstein list all over again.
This guy sounds like he bought the top. So I commented on him twice, and I was like, hey, bro, this is why we don't invest based on fundamentals. We invest on technicals. He deleted my comment both times. Let's give him a thumbs down. There you go, bro. He's all like, wah. Hey, look, guys, I hate to knock somebody, not really, but I'm telling you guys, I've been doing this long enough, and if it's your first cycle, do not invest on what they tell you. If they tell you it's going to cure cancer, that's freaking amazing if it does, but don't count on it. Count on the one thing. People lie. Numbers do not lie. Okay, so just look at the numbers. And if it doesn't add up by numbers, then don't take the investment no matter what they're telling you it's going to do. Because there are plenty of options out there where you can find one that they're telling you great things and the numbers do match up. So then you may get a bonus. See if we get the Mounts of Rooney here. Fill my order. Ooh, I got to get in Fetch, too. Fetch is dumping. Hang on. Babe, I'm spending money today. She's going to be so mad. I spend hundreds of thousands of dollars. Let's put an extreme number here. Let's try to buy us 350,000 more Fetch. Why not? Screw it. We already got one account loaded up. Let's load up this account. You can't get me on a live stream. I'm going to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars. Oh, shoot. I forgot to long this. Dang it. I drew this and forgot to. I don't know if I would long it anyway. I haven't even looked. You guys long this? I'm not even logged in. I'm not even logged into my VPN. So I'm not in my KCEX or MEXC. Hey guys, I hope y'all closed your long trade, the one that I took this morning that I showed you, that I gave you, and then I told you already closed. I hope y'all closed that long trade. If not, you're wrecked. You're stopped out. I hope you took profit. Hardborn, I don't know who that guy is. I have no idea. I was just kind of trying to research on some Flux coin yesterday because I'd never heard of it, even though it's been around for a full cycle and part of a previous, so 1.5 cycles. You guys, I would take this trade if I had my stuff pulled up, by the way. I drew this out. Y'all saw me draw it up during the stream. It's played out perfectly. You got your divergences. You're getting a little reaction here. I would treat it as a scalp until proven otherwise. But so far, you're getting the bounce, guys. This is how you're doing it. You guys that are on the stream that are just joining the pro group, you have to be able to see this stuff in advance. I mean, I'm not saying this thing's going to the moon, but the price was up here 2% away, and I drew this up. I mean, it's just, I'm not saying it's going to work out, but this is how you have to look at it. And if you get what you drew up, what you planned, your idea was, if you get it and you get the reaction with the plan you had, you just take the trade. They could, and if you fall below this box, they're probably coming. I drew this on the chart earlier. I guess I deleted it, but this line of liquidity right here, they're probably going to fast move down and grab all of this right here. And it starts with this wick here, but you can see they're probably going to fast grab all of that if they come below that. So this would have been one of those scalps. You nailed it right there, 62.6. I probably would have TP'd right here at 62.5. Stop loss to the low. Probably about to get stopped out of it. So may not play out at all. But I would have taken it. I wouldn't have lost, though, because I would have TP'd on the bounce, on the reaction. Anyway, guys, I know I'm being mean. Old sensitivity training there. Being mean about old dude, but that's what you get when you invest on someone else's narrative. That's what you get. Invest on something they can't embellish. Invest on something they can't blow smoke at you about. And that's the bottom line, the numbers. Invest on numbers, tokenomics, technicals. And that's what I try to put forth in these videos. You know, I put these videos out there, and I get, it's so amazing. If y'all go and look through some of the comments on these videos, some people, I literally have pre-recorded a 2-minute and 41-second intro right here where I talk about how I don't care about the fundamentals. And this is on technicals. And every comment, hater, troller in here is like, yeah, but this one's got a partnership with so-and-so. And I'm like, I don't care. 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 So, all right, guys, y'all got any questions? You want me to look at anything? Any questions? I'll look at your altcoin. I'll look at Bitcoin. I will look at anything you need me to look at here. Did we get filled? Not fully, almost. Push on down, fetch. We have gotten filled for 552,000 flux so far. So we're getting there. We're getting there. It's a lot of flux. If this sucker does, if it does return to $3.34, then you just witnessed, what is that? $3.34 times 600,000 coins. A $2 million buy, $2 million trade. I don't expect it to, but whatever. All right, let me know real quick if you have any questions. Flare? I don't know that I've ever looked at Flare. Flare, I think I got an airdrop of Flare back in the day, maybe for holding Cardano or holding XLM or XRP. Who did Flare do an airdrop for back in the day? I was holding a coin, and if I held a certain amount of coins, I got a Flare airdrop, and I sold it the same day I got it. I don't think I've looked at it since then. Do you remember that, Devin? Do you remember? It's going to bother me. XRP holders. Thanos, you should know that. Back in December of 20, Flare took a snapshot of XRP wallets and promised, yeah, I held a bunch of XRP back then, probably about 300,000 or 400,000 XRP, and I got some free Flare. There you go. Thanos got it. XRP. All right, let's take a look here. Uh-oh, I think they just filled my order. Not fully. Well, first thing, it doesn't look like Flare is, well, let's see. It doesn't look like Flare is listed on Binance. I always look for that, guys. If it's not on Coinbase or Binance, could be good, could be bad. If it's not on either one of those two, you're missing out on a larger market, a larger opportunity. However, it's kind of a roll of the dice. If you do get it and it eventually gets listed, it's almost always a huge pump. So it looks like it's on Coinbase. I know it's on Coinbase. I was on Coinbase when I got it. Let's take a look at old Flare here. It's been around longer than this because I got it in 2020. Or maybe I didn't. This said 2020 back here. I don't remember what year it was. I can't find price action before 2023, though, so maybe that's when it was. Oh, well, we'll just go with this. I'll do a quick rundown. I might shoot a video on this for you, bro, but let me just do a quick rundown just off the top of my head. And I don't know anything about the fundamentals, and I don't care. That stuff doesn't matter to me. It's kind of unusual. While everything else was down in the dumps, this thing was setting highs in market cap. You're getting token diluted, though. You can see, I'll put them side by side for you. Both of these are on the weekly time frame. It's really easy to see it like this. I use two screens, but it's really easy to see. This is why. This is why. Listen, guys, this is a great example. And I don't know, I'll have to project and predict what I think this is going to do. But this is why when people talk to you about fundamentals and about how, oh, XRP is going to change the world, or Cardano's, or whatever coin, I'm not picking on a coin. And I'm like, cool, that's great if it does, but you have to look at circulating supply and token dilution. You can't overcome that. You can, but it takes a hell of a lot of effort. And this is a good example. On the right is circulating supply. Circulating supply, in case you don't know, means how much money is in the asset. That is investors, that is people like you and I, that is corporations, ETF, whatever. It's how much money has gone into this project, okay? That's on the right. Okay, do you see? Let me see if I can get another screen up here. Do you see how this on the right continues to go up? The highs. Okay, that means more money is coming into this asset, more money. So each one of these tops is higher than the next, right? Higher highs. You had more money in the asset, but price on the left is going down, even though you have more money in the asset. So this is a bullish coin, but price is going down. That's why I tell people, don't fib your price, fib your market cap. Look at your market cap to see if you have a bullish coin. Never mind what the media and the marketing and people are telling you. Never mind that shit. Pay attention to what the chart is telling you, not your price chart, because your price chart can be deceiving. So this is a bullish coin. Right? You're setting higher highs, but you're setting lower highs in your price. Why? That doesn't even make sense. How is that happening when more money's coming in, but the price is going down? It's because of this. This is your token supply. You're increasing supply. You're unlocking coins. So you're adding more coins to the market. That's token dilution, market dilution. So yes, you are, in fact, having more money come into your asset, which is great. That's great. It's bullish. More people are buying into this coin. More people believe in this project. That's great. But you're also giving away more free coins, right? Early investors, people invested down here. This company said, okay, every I don't know what their unlock schedule is, but every 6 months we're going to unlock 1 billion coins. Every 6 months to the people that invested down here. And it's like if I have 10 diamonds in my hand and they're worth $1,000 a piece, and then boom, all of a sudden I have 10 more diamonds. Now my diamonds are worth $500 a piece because there's twice as many. So they're worth half as much, right? Does that make sense? So the problem with this coin is token dilution. You keep adding coins to the market. So even if this is a bullish coin and so many more people invest, your price is going to go lower. Unless an astronomical amount would have to come in for price to go higher, because you're fighting this uphill battle right here with tokens being added to the market. That is the only problem with this coin, because this is a bullish looking asset. You can't deny increase in market caps. You can't deny it. So what you need to do, what I do, you figure out when you think the next bull run is going to top, and let's just say October 2029. Maybe it's a little before, maybe it's a little after, and you can go look up the white paper. You can go track that down. I just asked ChatGPT, what will the circulating supply of Flare, FLR, crypto be in October 2029. Just a number. It'll give you a big long spiel if you don't tell it just a number. 102 billion. Okay? 102 billion. Let's see where we're at now. We're at 85 billion. So you're going to come up even more, about 20% more. That's a lot. Let's see where price high was. Price high was February of 24. Let's go look at that. That's important. We're going to need that. February of 24. $33 billion coins you had in February of 24. You're going to be at 100 billion coins by the next cycle high, okay? If for those of you that can't do the math, that is triple the coins. Triple. 3 times as many coins will be on the market as was at your price all-time high. Now, at your price all-time high, your market cap was $1.94 billion, call it $2 billion. That means you're going to have to do a $6 billion market cap. $6 billion for you to come up here and reach 56 cents again. That is probably not going to happen. Could it happen? Sure, but you can't bank on that. You cannot bank on that. Even when you came back and set a new high, you went from 1.9 billion to 2.1 billion. So yes, you increased a little, but you didn't even increase by 10%. You have to increase by 100% to reach this price all-time high, and I just don't see that happening. So what you can do is fib your market cap to get you a reasonable target, and then you can look for somewhere in here. And you have to take your market cap. Let's say you return to the gold. Let's just say you return to the gold pocket. And I understand this looks bullish. So chances are, because you got higher highs. Chances are you're going to come set. Nah, I lied. You're not going to come set a new high. You've broken that. Okay. This is broken. Okay. You could, I don't know. It's pretty freaking close. The problem is you swooped this low. So you've now flipped bearish. Okay. So I would anticipate a 618 to 786 retrace somewhere in here before heading down, because you've now flipped macro bearish. So now you've set in a lower low. I would expect a lower high to come in. And this works. It may not. I mean, this thing, again, could solve world hunger and you shoot, but don't plan on it. So let's assume you come. Let's assume it's pretty bold. Let's assume you come to 786. So you're going to take 1.78 billion divided by 100 billion, and that's going to give you basically a 2 cents. 2 cents. Wrong one. Right about there. That's going to be your target. 2 cents. And to me, that is probably not a great ROI. Pretty terrible, actually. But you're probably going to come lower. This looks really bearish. You're probably fixing to come lower. Take out this low. But this looks very bearish. And it doesn't look bad necessarily, because your market cap, it's just you're being watered down. I mean, hell, if I got free coins, They gave me free coins, and I didn't even know what it was. They're giving away coins. They gave me free flare just because I owned XRP. I mean, so that's not good for future price when they're giving away free coins to people that don't even invest in the coin. But it clearly has some interest in the coin. The math is not there. There's too many coins here. I mean, there's just too many coins. Gosh. When this thing was released, you had 10 billion coins. You're about to have 100 billion coins. That is 10 times the coins. They're drowning price. Do you know what they're doing? they're offering people free coins to invest in the project. So it's screwing the guys like us who are interested in this coin. I would not touch this coin for anything in the world. That's just me, and I'm not trying to be rude. I skip sensitivity training. It's just not there, and it's because of this. You released a coin with 10 billion coins, you're about to have 100 billion. That is a massive increase. I was just sitting over here talking about Flux, right? And about how Flux is about to have double the coins. 226 million to 440. Flares going 10x. Not 2, but 10. So, just my opinion. I wouldn't touch it. Risk to reward is not there. The return on investment is not there. It could be. It does look bullish market cap wise, but with the token unlocks, it's just going to take so much coming into the project. So there you're going to have to decide if you want to invest on fundamentals, and are those fundamentals going to play out, or is this it? And if you come back, take out the lows, I mean, you're probably going to get a 3x, 3 to 4x. It's not terrible. There's just better opportunities. Just my opinion. All right, guys. Anything else before I go? See what Fetch is doing. Ooh, oh gosh, Fetch got this big wick down. Goodness gracious. All right, I got to go tend to these trades, guys. I love you guys. The Lord loves you. Thanks for being here today. I will see you guys next time.